Sooner Nation, Thunder Nation, we are back. This is the Just Oklahoma Sports, that is also known as the Just OK Sports Podcast. I'm one of your village idiots, Daryl. I'm here with my brother Jared. Please like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. And if you would like, go get you some merch. My shirt finally came in. Our Moneyline Mateer shirts are out there on redbubble.com. You can find the link to all that on our Twitter account. So look there. You can also get the I'm a Material Girl shirt as well, which is what my wife got. And so it's all good stuff. So please support, help us in all those ways. We'd really appreciate it. Jared, how are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a long week already, but it was a good weekend, so that
Oh,
helps. We
man,
already did the
was it?
reaction pod. I'm still on the high, dude. I'm still on the high.
We did do an instant reaction that night. Uh, Troy was stuck in traffic because he was at the game, said the atmosphere was incredible, said it was a really good night and then really enjoyed it. So that was fun. But he couldn't join us, but we
I
did that.
I did see on Twitter there was a Michigan fan that was at the game, and he said being at OU for that game, he was like the atmosphere was one of the best he's seen. He's been to like Penn State and Texas and Ohio State and all of them.
Yeah, and I even saw some or I don't remember who it was. May have been one of the radio guys talking with one of the journalist guys saying we made the worst mistake ever getting Nebraska instead of asking you guys to come to the Big
Yeah,
Ten. So I thought
yeah.
that was kind of awesome and pretty cool. So
Which
yeah, I mean,
I will say we've been talking about this a little bit. There's always crazies in the fan base, but honestly, like 95% of that fan base that I've ever seen or interacted with, or like on Twitter, whatever, TikTok, really chill fans. Like I honestly feel a little bad for them. They're not like for being a blue blood program. You usually have a lot more
yeah.
feisty. I don't know what words you want to use, but they have a lot more maybe bitterness after a loss.
Yeah, but I
But
think,
they were really realistic coming in.
yeah.
Like like I said, 95% of their fan base was like, this is gonna be a good, like, close game. This is gonna be a hard fought game. Very balanced expectations. And then after the game when they lost, they were like, good job, OU. Like, GG. Like,
Yeah, and I think at the same time, there's a reality to when you have an offense that was as bad as theirs last year and as bad as ours last year. Nobody really has the place to just talk mad trash, right? Like, so for example, Texas fans have been running their mouths all offseason, and now that they beat San Jose State, or whoever it was that they played, they're just going right at it again, just talking about how they are the greatest thing since sliced bread and Arch Manning is back and yada yada, I mean all the things. And that's what
yeah.
happens when you have 2 years of being very successful, as opposed to a struggle. Yes.
Can I just I want I have a tangent. I have a J Rod rant real quick.
Okay.
Well, we both have dogs on the podcast now, so
Yeah.
that's a thing. Um, the preseason poll. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly almost feel like it should be gotten rid of. Like
Yeah.
Notre Dame in a lot of polls is still number eight. They've only played one game. I get it. They lost to the number five team in the nation, but they're number eight.
Well, yeah. I
But
mean,
it's like,
based.
why? I'm not saying that they should be ranked, but the fact that you haven't won a game and there's other teams now that have beaten quality opponents that are behind you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like the preseason polls, like Texas, like, yeah, you beat up on San Jose State. Like, Arch still didn't look good. Like, people can throw his stats around. I'm like, he played a really bad FBS school. He still threw the ball in the dirt a ton. He was not consistently accurate. Their defense is really good. I get that. But their offense is like, it's just like, it feels like the first half of the season, everybody rides on their preseason ranking. And it's like, what have you done? Right? Like, look at Florida right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
look at Florida, look at Alabama, even. Like, I know they just beat up on Louisiana Monroe or whatever, but they just got destroyed by Florida State. And Florida State wasn't anywhere, like, you know what I mean? Like, they look like one of the best teams in the nation, and they're still not in the top of the polls.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. Like what is not good about the polls is, like, for example, based off the preseason rankings, I don't have a problem with where Notre Dame is ranked. The problem is that the preseason rankings are dumb and we're ranking them there based off that, but we're not there's nothing that is a reality about that, if that makes sense at all, right? Like,
Hmm.
and I don't like that people are being ranked based off of beating people based off of their preseason rankings. And I kept saying this all along, and people are still using it. But here's my other side: OU fans are still using it too. Like I saw a whole podcast today that was all bold print. OU schedule is yada 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 because we're going to play every single team that we're facing is ranked, and it's like they're all ranked because they've beaten people who were ranked that shouldn't have been ranked. I've been saying the whole time. We can keep saying that OU has the toughest schedule in America, maybe, but I don't think they do. Again, because Texas lost all that they lost. We don't know what Arch Manning is. We don't know what this Simmons kid. Well, the Simmons kid at Ole Miss, while they're undefeated, he also has like 6 interceptions through 2 games. I mean, what are we doing here? And so I'm with
I
you
mean,
to some degree, but
the
you're just never going to get rid of a preseason poll. It's never going to go away. It's
I
never going to
guess
disappear.
I'd be a lot more okay with it if it just felt more fluid, right? Like if it was more you lost, so instead of dropping you from third to eighth, you're getting dropped to 22nd, and you can climb back up the pole, right,
Yeah,
as you win games. I feel like that's my problem is there's too much weight put into it, right? Like,
right. And I agree
and
with that. I,
it
I wish there was a way to, because we would all still do it. So we have something to talk about in the off season, right? That's going to happen,
right.
but that it would not actually factor into later on because we might very well find out Michigan's not even a team worthy of being ranked. That's possible. But we're going to get credit at the end of the year for beating that Michigan team. You see what I'm saying? And right now as a fan, I like that. But then there's other teams that are going to do that and it doesn't matter. Like for instance, oh gosh, well, Florida State beating Alabama. What if Alabama's the ends the season at 25th ranked? Like, was that a huge win? But no, but it's vaulted them towards the top because of it. And that's what is, I don't know how you
Well, and
fix
it's
that.
this is like the frustration for me at the beginning of the year because it goes even beyond just the rankings. It's also like some of these schools have played nobody, and they're like, "Well, our quarterback is just lighting it up," and it's like, bro, you played Eastern Michigan and an FCS school. Like, I would hope your quarterback lights them up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's things like that that just frustrate me. So that's just my gripe. The early seasons, like everybody, even with Mateer, as good as Mateer has looked, and I do think, like you said, maybe Michigan shouldn't be ranked, but I think Michigan's defense is really good.
I,
Um,
they've got some dudes over there.
so it's like, but even I'm not like, well, Mateer is a Heisman front runner. He's one of the top. It's like so far he's looked like one of the top quarterbacks in the league, but he hasn't really faced anybody yet. When he goes into the Cotton Bowl, if he can go into Cotton Bowl and ball out against Texas in a big time rivalry game, all right, then let's really start the hype train going. But right now, it's like I don't, you beat Illinois State and Michigan is a good one, but I still don't think that that's enough of a resume. That's a long season for 2 games to be your sample size, and people are already trying to make these grand claims. So anyway, I just my little rant that I just think that people need to, as much as I'm hyped and I'm excited about us beating Michigan, which whether they're ranked or not at the end of the season, I think is a very good quality opponent. I I'm still like we've got a lot to see from this team.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But they did show out on Saturday, I thought, especially defensively, really held things down. I mean, legitimately, you take one play away from them and they barely are at 200 yards of offense for the night. And I know shoulda, coulda, woulda. We talked about this in the immediate reaction. I don't like it when people do that, but um, it is a reality that there was about 2 or 3 plays in that game that completely changed everything in that game. That just the defense played really, really well. I think you've got the stats there. Hit us up with what it looked like for OU on Saturday.
Okay, so just go through the team stats real quick. This was a crazy one to me. Michigan was held to 12 first downs, and Oklahoma had 22. So
Most of
th
them coming on a 9 minute drive or 8.5 minute drive there in the fourth quarter.
yeah, but still, You think this year's teams last year could have managed
Yeah, no.
22
Heck
against
no.
anybody that had a pulse? No. Third down, Michigan was held to 3 of 14. OU was 9 of 17.
Nice.
Fourth down efficiency, they were 0 for 1. We were 1 for 1. Total yards, 288 for Michigan. That's a good showing for the OU defense.
Mm-hmm.
408 for OU. 270 of OU's yards, or 270 of OU's total yards were passing, and 138 rushing. That was for 3.5 a click. So not fantastic, but a lot better than I think we expected.
Well, and
Uh,
to give a little bit to that, to think that we rushed for 3.5 yards per carry when we brought in four brand new starters, two of which had not, well, sorry, three of which had not even played a down of football yet this year,
mm,
against that, what we thought was going to be a very good Michigan defense and what we still think is a very good Michigan defense. Remember, that's about what we ran last week against Illinois State. That was our average last week. You brought in four new starters, three of which that haven't even played a down yet, and you go for that against Michigan front. I will take it.
yeah. Now Michigan had 146 yards rushing, 4.6 a click. But again, I like you kind of said in our last pod, take one play away. I know I hate to be that guy. You take one play away, and that's I don't know,
70
two, 3 yards
yards.
of carries. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's cut in half. Um, they had 142 yards passing. Underwood was 9 for 24, 5.9 yards per pass attempt. So now the bad side is we had two turnovers.
Yeah.
They had none. So we're
Yeah.
still negative in the turnover margin. But and then just to really quickly highlight some of OU's players. Mateer 21 for 34, 270 yards, one touchdown through the air, two touchdowns on the ground, 74 yards rushing, 19 carries. That's 3.9 average. Um, the next leading rusher was Javante Barnes, 6 carries for 24 yards for 4 yards a click. Deion Burke, 7 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. And Jaron Kanik, 5 receptions for 69 yards. And some really
Leading
clutch plays.
leading receiver in the SEC at the tight end position.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, just, I mean, a phenomenal showing for OU. I think that's, regardless of where Michigan's ranked, they're still a blue blood. They're still a big program. Um, I think OU can hang their cap on that a little bit. Um, so and like I said, I think their front seven is especially on defense is especially really good. They've got some dogs. I think number one, I forget his name already, but
Barham.
he's a dude.
Yeah. Watching
Um,
him run down Tory Blaylock from behind.
yeah,
Okay, you were talking about a guy that was a 4x100 national record setter. And Barham caught him. Now, granted, I think when Blaylock got past him, he thought, oh, that dude weighs like 250. There's no way he's catching me. And then next thing you knew, it was like, holy crap, he's there. But I mean, that just showed Barham's a freak of nature, bro. He is, yeah, he is not from here.
yeah. So I think they're really good. They're secondary, not completely sold on, but still good win. Um, and I really think, like I said, Justice Haynes, who I think is a dude, the running back,
Yep.
19 carries for 125 yards. Again, he take a 75-yard run away, and that's 18 for 50. I don't know the math on that off the top of my head, but that's like
Less than
2.7
three.
yards a
Yeah.
carry.
Yeah. Less than three.
Yeah. So, I think the defense is really good. Like I said, it feels good to find like to have I think we all felt the defense was going to be good, but the fact that they seem to be, I think they might be more aggressive. I think Brent might be a little bit more aggressive
Well,
this year.
I think he was this game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we got to slow our roll a little bit. He knew that he was facing a quarterback that was a true freshman and 18 years old and hadn't seen as much. Um, and even really just by virtue of different alignments and things like that, um, Michigan wasn't really doing anything to stress you right? So it kind of opens your opportunity to be a little more aggressive and tee off on him a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, um, regardless, I just think they played really well. They played downhill, and you've got like, I don't know if did you see the Cortland Guillory thing that I sent you?
Yes,
So that dude's I think he's got an attitude that BV likes. He's very
he does, but he needs to stay off social media saying that crap. So
well, yeah, yeah, probably so. But dude's a
it,
dog.
if you don't know, somebody basically put a post up that Jackson Arnold was going to rush for 100 yards and throw for 250 against OU in 2 weeks, and Cortland Guillory decided to chime in on social media, basically saying, I got this covered. And here's the deal. The Auburn has dudes at wide
Yeah,
receiver. Dudes. Now, I don't know what I think about Jackson Arnold still, but they got dudes at wide receiver. Like if
yep,
Cortland Guillory is going to get put in a spin cycle as a true freshman, it's going to happen against Auburn
yeah.
because they got some guys. Man, they got some guys. Um, so anyways,
Yeah.
but any other thoughts like just overall offensively, how did you feel about the offense, Mateer, the
I
running game, all those kinds of things.
I it's still early in the season, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Arbuckle. Um, maybe it's just because of how poorly the offensive game plan was last year. There was no scheming, there was no it I don't know. It was like backyard football. There was just no game plan. It didn't feel for anybody. And he was dicing up Michigan. Um, like I said, rewatching the game a little bit, there's multiple guys open on several plays.
Mm-hmm.
And last year it's like you couldn't even get one guy open.
Right.
Um, now I know you had a bunch of injured receivers, but it's like you still had guys that can move and they couldn't get open. So, like I said,
Yeah.
the way he's scheming things up is good. So I'm very proud of that. And like I said, Mateer, the I hope he doesn't have to run as much like that in every game because he's going to get beat up. But just a solid showing by him. The interception, I it's always hard to not put a little blame on him, but I don't think it was an egregious interception either. So
Right. Sorry, my dog has just decided to enter the chat here. Uh, I mean, it depends. There's multiple people saying the wide receiver should have kept his track down the hash,
mm,
or kind of more flat, if you will, and bent it. I don't know. I can see that both ways. I understand why they're saying what they're saying, but I also can see that they're where they're lined up. If he stays flat, he's pulling and making it very easy for that corner to cover him and the outside receiver as well. So I can understand why he bent it, towards the middle as well. Um, those kinds of things. Now, I do think when you look on film, you can see that Mateer has released the ball before he starts to curve in, which is one of the things that we really like about Mateer. He seems to throw with great anticipation. So it does seem like he felt that way about it. I don't know. Um, I'll go negative Nancy since that's my role in the podcast, right? I'm supposed to be Dart Darrow, right? Um, Look, the ball he throws out of the end zone to Dion Burks on the sideline, right? He has to find that pass consistently. And what I mean by that is the first ball he has thrown the entire season that has actually gone up with any trajectory and then come down on the other side, where the nose of the ball is actually turned over and fallen down into the basket, right? The trash can throw, as we like to say. If he throws that kind of pass to Keontez Lewis, it's a touchdown. Instead, Isaiah Satania saves us from getting an interception by knocking it out of the hands of the DB, right? If he throws that pass to Dion Burks later in the game down the sideline, it's another touchdown or at least a very big completion. And instead, it hits the Michigan defensive back right in the back of the helmet because he's throwing those balls so flat that it is giving them an opportunity to knock it down. Matter of fact, you could say the same thing about the one earlier in the game that the linebacker got a hand on. Now, granted, that's a little more of a layered throw that he's shown he can make, right? But when it comes to those deep balls and he's got guys behind him, he's got to get out of this shortstop, sidearm, laser throw 35 yards down the field. It's great that you got that arm, but it's not a high percentage completion that way. Throw the ball out and let your guy go make a play instead of you trying to throw a dadgum dart into the bullseye circle of exactly where it needs to be. You're just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
And we're going to play better defenses. Okay. Or I said, let me rephrase that. We're going to play better defensive backs. And they're going to feast because we're going to have a guy 2-3 steps behind a DB and he's going to try to rifle it in there. And now you're allowing the defensive back to make a play. You're allowed, like even that one to Keontae Lewis. If he throws it with an arc and he overthrows it, great. But guess what? You come away clean. If Isaiah Satania doesn't make one of the most heads up plays I've ever seen, that's another interception. So he put 3 balls and really the one that hit the defensive back on the back of the head. That was 4 passes he made the other night that were very much in danger. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good recipe. And I know he's got time to clean it up and all that. But even going back to Washington State, you don't see him throw a lot of over the top ball. You see a lot of back shoulders and you see a lot of lasers. You don't see a lot of over the top. And a lot of that is his mechanics. You can't throw. Troy and I were talking about this today. It is very hard to throw an up and over when you're releasing the ball right here at shoulder height. You have to be up and over the top of that ball. Is it possible? Sure, but it's tough. Now, he threw one out of the end zone. And I think Arbuckle and Kuz and all those guys need to show him that tape over and over and over and over again. We need you to throw this ball with a lot more regularity.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I think he's got some things to clean up. I think he played extremely well, but again, right now you're negative in the turnover margin. Some of that's interceptions. They're not all on him, but he's had an interception in both games, and he can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
As we segue into talking about Temple, I said this in one of the discords we're in. I think Temple is a well coached team now. Like they have a really good coach, and if a well coached team gets some opportunities like that, you better watch out. Like if you turn over the ball, if you turn over the ball in your own territory, then especially multiple times, you're really setting yourself up for a tough game to win.
Yeah. Look, the fan base right now is way too cocky about this Temple game. They are way, way too cocky about this Temple game. And it's all because last year, this team that sucked beat them 52-9. And so it's like, oh, this game, it's just no. If you got a Hulu account, you got an ESPN Plus account, go type in Temple and Howard. Now, is Howard any good? I don't think so. But just go watch Temple. And you tell me that that's not a completely different football team. Because they are. And here's what's scary. Their starting quarterback, which we'll talk more in a few weeks or tomorrow. We've got Sean McGady from I'll Be Back podcast who covers Temple. He's going to be coming on with us. He's actually had their new head coach, Casey Keeler, on his pod. So he's going to get to tell us some about him. So we'll be able to preview all that stuff in a day or so. But this is not the same squad. And the quarterback that they're playing right now that has like 7 touchdowns in 2 games and is throwing for 77% completion was on their roster last year and he did not play. That's how bad the coaching was there the last 2 or 3 years. Whereas Casey Keeler, 2-time national champ at the FCS level. And if you track his track record, he does nothing but win. He wins. And the team he's coaching right now is ready to win. And by the way, You just got done saying you really like what Arbuckle's doing. Go watch that Howard game. Guess what? Temple's offensive coordinator looks like Arbuckle's twin brother. Motion, shift, guys open, mesh concept, running the ball with regularity, using the QB run game. Like it's all in there. I formation, pistol formation, two back formation, two tight ends, one tight end, empty formation. Like it's all there. And if this defense comes out flat, this offense is going to score points. 100% they're going to score points because he's going to scheme it up to put them in a good position.
Yeah, I mean, I think, this is what I said in the Discord. Something along the lines of, um, you know, I think OU wins, but if OU wants to be a top team, then they really are going to have to come out and treat Temple just like they did Michigan. If that like that's been a key ingredient in some of the teams, even the great teams we've had, is you have to come out every week and treat every opponent the same. And I know that that may sound like coach speak or just whatever, but it's like if you can't come out and treat an opponent like Temple, who I think is a much improved team, but is still going to have should have a massive talent disparity.
Yeah.
If you can't come out and just put your foot on their neck and dominate them from beginning to end, then you're not a real national championship level team.
Yeah.
You're not proving you are.
Yeah. I mean, this is you need to come out and impose your will. Like this is a game where you need to say we are more talented and we are better and we're going to show it by just playing vanilla football and you're going to like it. We're not going to motion every play. We're not going to move here, slant here, do this, do that, yada yada. We're going to line up and we're going to do exactly what we want to do and you're going to like it. Defensively, we're going to line up. Our 4D linemen are going to destroy whatever 6, 7 man protection you're going to bring, and you're going to like it. And if you're going to sit there and try to run the ball at us to eat clock the whole time, we are going to put 6 or 7 in a box, and our 4 and 5 DBs are going to lock down your guys one on one. That's what this game should be. Now, with it being on the road, already kind of messaging back and forth and talking with Sean. Now, granted, this is a team that normally has about 15,000 people at a game. Okay, this is not a huge, but they are expecting about 35 to 40 for this one. And you let them stick around, you let them stay tied for a quarter, it's all going to start snowballing and it's all going to start getting heavy. And this is that kind of game where all of a sudden, kind of like Clemson last week, Clemson has no business being down 16-0 to Temple. Now, kudos to them. They came back and closed the deal. Like, I'm just telling you right now, man, this coach has got an edge to him. He is really, really good, and he's got these guys playing well. They have got to come out on fire. And so far, listen to all the players, they get that. But they got to show it on the road. And by the way, I love how this game is set up now because you get to play a road game. These young guys get to get a feel for what it's like to travel and do the hotel and do all the things, right? Changing of time zone, blah, 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 blah. But they're actually playing a decent opponent. And so they can't just show up. They've got to come and play well. And so it works out really well. And if they will do that, yes, they can end this game early. But if they don't, they're going to be in an absolute dogfight in this game.
No, I don't disagree. I mean, looking at their stats, they're 13th in the nation
Yeah.
in points against, 15th in points for, 14th in the nation in rushing yards. I mean, their number one running back is 215 yards on 29 carries. And again,
And
I
they've
don't
got
think that,
two. They got two that are really good.
and again, they have not played great opponents,
No.
but the simple team last year, like you kind of highlighted, last year they were losing to bad opponents.
Yes.
So not the same team. We can't just go in thinking, well, it's Temple, it's fine. Like I said, and that needs to be the shift of the mentality because I feel like that needs to be the mentality that OU has to have and the fan base needs to have is every week, it doesn't matter who you play, we're gonna dominate you.
Yeah.
Like I want to see like I want to see this game be 77-0. Like I wanted to see OU come out and just throttle them and say, we respect you're good, but we're going to do our business
Yeah.
and we're going to do it however we please. And if you can't have that mentality, then you got problems because
Right.
it's especially when you're in a conference. That's another thing is especially when you're a conference like the SEC, every week's going to be a challenge when you're in your conference
Yep.
schedule.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you're playing Mississippi State. Mississippi State looks good now, right?
Yeah.
Like they look good. Um, but like you have like you can't have that mentality. You go into some of these games just like last season, lost some games you shouldn't have lost. I mean, this year's schedule maybe a little different, but it's like, Auburn,
Those
you
are
better,
those are all still games you can lose though.
yeah.
All
I mean, just
games you can
yeah,
lose.
just to run through it. Like out of the remaining games that I would say OU's kind of a shoe in to win, I would say one, Kent State. All the
Yep.
other games you could lose. Even though
Yeah.
I don't like some of these schools are ranked and I don't think that they're that good,
Right.
you don't show up, you're going to get your butt beat.
Yep.
If we get to Ole Miss or Missouri and they're not ranked because they've lost a few games or whatever it is, and you don't come out and play the football you need to play, you're going to lose.
Right. Right. And I think a big thing for this week, and again, we'll talk about this more when we do the preview, but one of the big things I want to see is that new starting five on the offensive line impose their will. And again, I thought they held up really good in pass pro this last week. I really did. And we said that the week before. But I really want to see just some Mack truck type holes opened up in the run game. I really want to see some pancake blocks throughout the day. And the D line needs to play that exact same way this week. And they need to play in a way where Marcus Strong plays more, where PJ plays more. You should be able to play those guys a lot more snaps for both the experience and so your other guys are rested, which, by the way, is something we have not talked about. But because of the way the offense is playing and because of the way the defense is playing, I want to say that most of our guys on defense, I think like the guy that's played the most snaps is like 80 snaps, if that, through 2 games, which is insane. Like
Yeah.
whereas what just even last year there were games where our defense was on the field for 120 plays at times. And so even if you played half the game, you'd have played 60 snaps in one game. And there are guys right now that have played 40 and 30 and 50 snaps through 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we need to keep that rolling. Need to keep that rolling.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is going to be a game that's going to be, um, I hope that you can get those guys some extra playing time.
Mhm.
Um, and I think you really want to be able to keep those guys rested. Like you want to be able to, because you have Auburn coming in next week.
Right.
So it's like you can't just lollygag around and get somebody hurt.
Right.
Like you can't put Jaden Jackson or David Stone or whoever out there and make them play 50 snaps against Temple and have them be you want them to feel rested after this game is what the ideal situation. So
Correct.
but yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like that's one thing that I noticed on the film too, though, is, and this is where I give kudos to BV and his staff. We already talked about Cortland Guillory is a dude. Like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
young guys that get in there and get some plays.
Tory
Um,
Blaylock's a dude.
yeah,
Michael Fasusi's a dude.
yeah. I mean, you can give your roses to Heineke. Like he had a heck of a game.
Yes, he did.
So I think that shows his level of coaching is still there. So yeah, you just hope that they get to play some of those guys. Like you hope that there's, it's not, we don't want it to be like last year where you had Danny Stutzman out there for 100 snaps.
Right.
I mean, it's just not going to work in an SEC schedule.
Right.
I think this is a deep team, but you don't want to be taking injuries or wearing guys out when you're
Before you
at the
even
first
get to
half.
that schedule. Yeah.
The first half of your season.
Yeah. No doubt. No, I completely agree. Let's get off of OU for a second. Let's shift gears to did you see Steve Sarkisian getting a little agitated with the media today? How'd you feel about that?
I mean, I don't know. Like Sarkisian is a weird guy because I think he's a really good coach, but sometimes he has that typical Texas attitude of like, why would you like? It's like the pompous. Why would you even ask me that sort of attitude? Like you lose the game. Well, why would you ask me that? And it's like, it's a fair question, dude.
Which, by
Like,
the way, if you don't know what we're talking about, one of the press media during his press conference made mention of the video that came out of Arch throwing, and it seemed that he was wincing very heavily in the fourth quarter at a throw that he made that was not a good throw. And so it seemed as though something was wrong with his shoulder. And so someone said, what's going on with Arch's shoulder? Yada. And he goes, who said anything about his shoulder being hurt? And they said, well, Arch did. And he said, Arch told you that? He goes, well, there's video of Arch making a face, and it really seems like something's wrong. To which Sark then replied, I don't take photos of you taking what faces you make when you're going to the bathroom. So I don't know what a face means, in a game. But Arch hasn't said anything and he's fine. He's good to go. I was just like, okay. Really weird situation of when I'm taking photos of you, but whatever.
I just like I said, I just talked about it earlier too. It's just I feel like Texas is in this mode, even with like the Sarkeesian and all those guys, where it's like we have to keep this high train going around Arch,
Yeah,
right? And it doesn't make sense to me because it's like, look, like he put up good stats against San Jose State. Good. But he also, if you watch the game, if you know ball at all, he didn't look fantastic. He should have had 400 yards passing.
yeah.
Um, and like I said, it's just the inconsistency. I think if he can correct that, yeah, he could be really good. But just because his name's Manning does not make him Peyton.
Right. But the thing that stuck out to me is you can tell that Sark's getting done with the circus. He's getting frustrated with the circus. And look, I don't think that Steve Sarkeesian's ever said, "Hey, this guy's a generational talent." I don't think he's ever said that. I don't think he's ever pushed that narrative. But this is this is what you've brought in. You knew what was coming with it. You knew what was going on with it. And now here it is, and it's driving him bonkers. He's done. He don't want to deal with it anymore. And I don't know, but like you and I both know, there have been lots of years at Texas where head coaches wanted to bench certain people and play certain people. And certain people were allowed to manipulate that situation. And let's be honest, Texas is where they're at right now because there's a lot of people writing some really big checks, and they are leasing for free some really expensive cars. As we know that about a third of that roster drives Lambos all over Austin. I wonder how much say that they get in this stuff because they wrote a big check to get Arch Manning to be there. And they let him sit for 2 years because they were going to get this guy ready, make sure he was ready for the moment, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? He don't look it. He don't
No,
look
I
it.
mean,
Matter of fact, all the things you heard about John Mateer. John Mateer looks great against the Mountain West and the Pac too, but what's he going to do against real competition? Well, that's kind of what Arch looks like right now. He's looked great against San Jose and he looked great against Louisiana Monroe. But
well,
so far, when
it's
he plays real teams, he's struggling.
and I think that's my most frustrating part with Arch. It's what the funny thing is even though I hate Texas, I don't have anything against Arch Manning. Like I like the
No,
Mannings.
he didn't say anything either. Arch
No,
hasn't tried to
I
play it up.
respect his I respect his attitude where he says I haven't done anything. Like I want to
100%.
I want to get my own legacy. And it's like I respect that attitude. But as you kind of said, it's really not even like I said, I don't even think it's Sark and I don't think it's Arch, but it's everybody else that is trying to highlight him as a generational talent. And I'm like, why?
Hmm.
Like he hasn't even made a throw in an FBS game that just made me go, maybe he's thrown like two where I went, oh, that's really good out of however many games he's played in. And he played in 2A Louisiana football, which if you go watch the film that's now viral on Twitter, looks like he's playing against a JV junior high squad. I mean, there's guys that are about 5'4" trying
Well,
to
and here,
chase him down.
how do you think, like, granted, I thought he played horrible against Ohio State, but to me, on that team, you know who's a generational talent? Anthony Hill Jr.
No, yeah, Anthony Hill is a dude.
Colin Simons. I don't know about generational, but that dude's a dude.
Yeah,
And you
Anthony
know,
Hill
and
Anthony Hill is
and
I
even
would
the
probably
young corner kid they got, I can't remember his name now. Oh, 5-star true freshman kid that played really well against Ohio State, right? Like nobody's talking about him because they're too busy talking about Arch. And guess what? Now you got all these millions of dollars involved. This is the stuff that BB talks about. How much is Sark having to spend his time managing that roster right now? Managing egos, managing people go, this is the guy we're paying however many millions of dollars to. And like, if I could leave for the draft right now, I'd probably be a first round pick. And I'm getting what? Like, I'm the one who kept us in the game against Ohio State. Like, I'm the one that's actually pulling my weight. And what am I getting paid? There no ESPN interviews for me. You don't think all that stuff's happening behind the scenes? I guarantee you it's happening behind
well,
the
it's
scenes.
it's kind of the boy who cried wolf with Texas too, right? Chris Sims was a generational talent.
Yeah.
Case McCoy was going to be this. He's even better than Colt McCoy, right?
Yep.
Like outside of Vince Young in college, they haven't had anybody that's generational talent at quarterback position, in my opinion.
Yep.
Not in our not in our lifetimes. Um, and so it is a little frustrating, but I think I legitimately hope that Arch does well in his future. Like I'm cheering for the kid to some degree, except when he plays well. I cheer for him to have a great game and Texas to lose every game. I don't even cheer against him. All but it's like I don't have anything against the kid. I think he's got a good attitude. I think he's got you know the a lot of the things that I would like in a quarterback if he played for anybody else. So I'm not going to hate the kid, and I don't think that he's the one trumpeting I'm a generational talent.
Right.
But I that's just my soapbox moment of the media needs to shut up. Like he's done nothing right now to even claim to be honestly a good quarterback in the college football level.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
done nothing in his career to say that he's even going to be a good quarterback. Of the like generational talent is not even in the conversation for me at this point.
Right. Right. And again, he might figure it all out still. It might still all come together, but it's just a real interesting dynamic. And I, again, just watching Sark have to respond to that today, I was like, dude, you can tell this guy is just done with Archmania. He is done with it. He doesn't like he wants to talk about football and he wants to get his team to win games, which I love about Sark. Uh, but man, it's wild. It's wild. It's
And
wild. And which comes back to what BB says all the time. You recruit your problems. You
yeah,
know, you recruit your
well,
problems, and you had to know recruiting that kid with that name uh had the possibility of being very, very, very difficult to manage.
okay. And another aside to shift gears because we've given Texas too much airtime.
Yeah, we definitely have.
Um, but we'll give another rival some because we didn't get to talk about too much. But Gundy, Mike Gundy, just what do we think? I mean, that fan base has been pretty loyal to him,
Yeah.
and I don't see a lot of them that are very much supporting him right now. And I didn't
Well,
really
yeah,
even
no.
think about it this way, but it's kind of a bold strategy just because, like, I saw the sound bites of last week with his, oh, we don't have the money Oregon does, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I didn't really think about it, but I was like, how do you think that makes your current donors feel? Like, how do you think the people that want to give to your NIL, you're telling them they're broke, that they can't afford to compete with Oregon?
Yes, but I know, and Mike knows. And because I know some people who are very attached to that program, um, it's been that way for a while. And there are people that if they really want OSU to be competitive, need to step up. I know even when Boone Pickens was still alive, Boone got up at a huge boosters meeting and said, okay, I wrote a really big check and the facilities are done. We need some other people. It cannot be me funding it.
I
And
yeah,
and
I
and and the room was crickets.
yep, I know somebody else was at that meeting and they said the exact same thing. Boone said, "I've done enough. Somebody else
And
needs to step up."
and they're not. Other than doing these red dirt country concert series where all the money goes to their which I think is brilliant, by the way. I think it's really smart and it's really well done. Um, Now the sad part is, so all that to say, Mike's right. Mike can't compete with, well, first of all, Oklahoma can't compete with Oregon financially. Nobody can. Like, honestly, they probably have the most money out of anybody in the country. Right? So that's a fact. But the fact that he said it and then went out and loses 69-3 just does not
Well,
ingratiate yourself to your fan base.
yeah, and I mean the problem with Mike is again, and the fan base is saying this for OSU. I think everybody sees it. He's not adjusted to the modern landscape of college football, right? With the transfer portal
Mm-hmm.
and NIL and all those things, he just doesn't know how to use it. Um,
Well, hold on. Here's where my big frustration is. I do agree with that, but we're acting like he did a good job of recruiting before that. And can we just be honest? He didn't. He did a great job of development. But I mean, this is a squad that at one point was a vote away from being in a BCS championship, or a computer model away from being in a championship. This is
yeah.
a Big 12 champ team. And you know what? Like his highest rated class is what? Like 26? At one point, he was up there with the most consecutive 10-win seasons with Nick Saban. It was Mike Gundy and Nick Saban winning 10 games a year. And did he leverage that to recruit anybody? No. He'd walk into a living room and go, "We really want you at OSU." Or get on a phone or whatever it was. And if they said, I don't really know if I'm into OSU, bye. That's not recruiting. Recruiting is not picking up the phone and going, "Okay, if we offer you, coming."
Well, but I mean, you also have to think that I honestly think a lot of it's just passed him by. I think he's to give this is going to make a lot of OU fans mad because I love Bob Stoops, but Bob Stoops the last few years of his career wasn't that bad, but I think he'd kind of let a lot of those sorts of things go to his staff
Yes.
and he didn't worry about it.
Yep.
And Mike, I think, is the very same way. I think he doesn't care about going and recruiting kids. I don't think he wants to go get on a plane and go recruit anybody.
And that's the old system. So what I'm getting at is, yes, he didn't jump on NIL nearly fast enough. Way, way behind. But his bigger problem is, so like I we were talking about this the other day. The 22 class, which is Kip Lewis, Kobe McKenzie, those guys. Do you know how much NIL was involved in their class?
No idea.
Zero. It wasn't allowed. That's just 3 recruiting classes ago. So if Gundy would have actually got off his butt and did what his job was back then and leveraged the name that was Oklahoma State, leveraged the success that was Oklahoma State, he would have some guys right now that could play ball.
Well,
But he
I think
didn't.
it's I think ironically, I think he also has a little bit of the attitude of I'll just say it, the old heads at OU, where it's like, well, if you don't want to play for OU, go on. You
Right.
know, I mean, it's
Yeah, that's
they've had
exactly what he did.
a number of good players transfer. It's we have one on our roster, right? Um, and I mean, I don't know how those conversations went, but it kind of seems like his attitude is if you're not a Heisman favorite, like I forget his name, the running back from last year that
Ollie
I couldn't
Gordon.
stand, Ollie Gordon. If you're not Ollie Gordon, well, it's fine. Whatever. Go ahead and leave. You don't want to be an Oklahoma State Cowboy? I don't care. And
Yeah.
that doesn't work in this day and era, like this day and age. Like it just doesn't work. And so
Well,
it's
again,
just
it never has. It never. I mean, all the stories of Barry Switzer where a guy would commit somewhere else or say they were going, he'd go down and be like, "Bull crap, you are. That's not where you're going. And if you do, I'm gonna beat you every year, and I'm gonna let you know about it. But if you come, I'm gonna get you ready, and we're gonna win a lot of games. Like that's the job of recruiting. That's the job. Michael Fasusi was offered more money than Oklahoma. But Oklahoma sold him on we're going to win and we're going to get you ready for the NFL. We're going to put you in a position to be successful. And we're not going to just lowball you, but we're going to give you what we can give you. And he took it. That's recruiting. That's recruiting. And Mike
well,
never did
yeah,
it. And it's coming back to bite him. If he had a 22 class that was still there, loyal to OSU, that had been a talented class, they could be competing right now. Now, would they have beat Oregon on Saturday? Nope. But they'd be competing right now. And he
yeah.
didn't
I
do it.
mean,
And that's again what disingratiates yourself to a fan base when you're going, give me more and more and more money, but I gave you nothing when you weren't having to buy players. And now I want you to give me everything, and I'm still probably not going to go chase guys with the money that you give me.
yeah, and I mean, I think the just to wrap up the Oklahoma State talk, getting too much airtime for them, but the other part of that is he doesn't have the mentality of a modern day, like you said, the modern day recruiting. And the other problem is that all that credibility that he could have leveraged. Hey, I just went to I was just a play away from the BCS playoff and a Big 12 championship. Like we're right on the cusp. I know how to develop you and I know how to go win games.
Yep.
That's gone. You didn't win a Big 12 game last year. And right now, I know it's early in the season, so I'm not going to try to say it. But if I had to pick right now, if somebody was asking me to put money on it, I'd probably put money on them not winning more than a couple this year.
I wouldn't put money on them to win any.
Yeah, they look terrible. And the Big 12 doesn't even look good.
No.
Overall, as a conference, it looks pretty bad. And I don't, yeah. So I feel for their fan base. I think it's
Yeah.
crazy to see so many of the ones that were always, well, Gundy's always been true and Gundy's always been loyal.
Yeah.
And now they're going, he's got to go. Like, there's
Yep.
no way that we're not a serious football school if he stays next year.
100%. So, well, that's enough of all that stuff. But man, what a great weekend for OU football. It was awesome. Um, really, really good stuff. It's crazy to think we are 1 month and 12 days away from Thunder season kicking back off again, and Kevin Durant watching a banner drop. Um, in the middle of the arena, which is going to be great as well. So, man, just a great time to be an Oklahoma fan. Hey, all of you that are listening that might live on the East Coast, or if you're a fan listening, you know somebody that lives on the East Coast, or going to to Pennsylvania to watch the game against Temple. Please check out our pod later this week. We're going to give you all the tips of where to go, where to eat, all those kinds of things with Sean McGady. So make sure you check that out. And again, please like, subscribe, do all those things. We'd really appreciate you doing that. Go to the merch store, get you a shirt, get you a sticker, get you a magnet, get you something. It all goes back to the pod. And again, 10% goes to Make-A-Wish as well. So we'd really appreciate that. And so with all that said, we're having a great time. We hope you are too. I'm Daryl. That's Jared. And we will talk to you guys later.
Bye, Baker.